I'm not a fan of Ibsen.
Well, yes. Yeah.
I gave him a pass.
Yeah, I view Ibsen as that central midfielder that doesn't like passing the ball, and when he does, he passes it to the wrong team.
Yeah.
Right.
He scored some very good goals. He scored some very important goals. But I think he gave up more. I mean, playing Atlanta, that game in Atlanta, he literally gave them 2 goals.
Yeah, he did.
Well, and there was, I want to say the New England game, maybe. He did a back heel.
Yes. Yep.
And he backheeled it to them.
Right to their player, and they literally walked in and put it in the back of the net.
Yeah. So I saw on Twitter a couple weeks ago, somebody posted a picture of him hugging Neymar. And
I saw that.
And they said, just remember who taught Neymar everything. And then I think it was from this account, from the Loonacy account, I retweeted that, well, considering how bad he dives, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Because that's always been my big thing with Ibsen.
Ibsen, 23 games started, 4 goals, 3 assists. So.
Yeah,
I mean, his
still
numbers,
that's not aren't great numbers.
No, they're not.
He did have a pretty back heel this season.
Yeah, but he used it too much.
But
that was a goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like, how the hell did he score? Type of thing. Yeah. But still, yes, I agree. I gave him a pass because he was NASL, and I was like, all right, it's Alexi Gomez for me.
Well, I'm going to say Alexi Gomez. And
so you're one of them, an NASLer still.
Yeah, a little bit.
But honestly, about Alexi Gomez, and we talked about this before, whenever Alexi Gomez touches the ball, in my head, there's a little sound that goes, what's he going to do next?
I was hoping you'd break that out on this pod.
Yeah. What's he going to do next?
Well, and
is he going to give it up? Is he going to do something crazy?
For me, every time it looks like he's going to have a shot, I think of Blair Walsh.
Wide right?
Yeah.
Wide right.
It's just going to go somewhere.
Yeah. So Sterling is Alexi Gomez, your LVP.
Runaway winner of the least valuable player.
Yeah, I mean, there's no contest in that. I mean...
Yeah, I think, actually, I thought this one was going to be an easy one. I think that the next award, team award, which is going to be MVP, I think that actually is probably even easier. We don't need to beat
let's get into it. I mean, MVP, of course. I mean, Darwin is your MVP.
I challenge you to bring up even another name.
Nobody else.
I picked Darwin, but Miguel Ibarra
put in
a good effort.
Maybe we need another award, MVP not named Darwin Quintero.
Well, then it'd be Miguel
Ibarra without a question.
As most improved for Miguel. There's something that
I completely agree.
Clicked.
Yeah, I mean, Molino and Finley going down at the beginning of the season.
It helped him a lot.
It opened it up.
The team also didn't do better because of those two going down.
Yeah.
But he definitely showed more this year. I don't think you can call him most improved because at one point he was on our national team.
He was, yeah.
That's true.
So
when he's let's go back to those days when he got picked on that though. His competition he was playing against in the NASL wasn't what he was playing with in the MLS.
Oh, completely
true.
So
completely true.
I mean, I guess you could look at it in different directions.
So least inhibited to perform.
Sure. You want to use big words.
But yeah. So
I dug down deep into the source.
No, I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, runaway. Well, as far as MVP, it is obviously Darwin.
It's Darwin.
And I mentioned earlier his 15 assists. He also had 11 goals.
Yeah.
And of course led the team in both categories. Yeah. So it's really a no-brainer.
The thing is,
he only played in 3/4 of the games.
Yeah.
He missed 5. He missed the first 5.
With MVP, you got to look at where would this team be without somebody?
And good God,
it's scary.
Can you imagine if we didn't sign Darwin Quintero?
I think we wouldn't have clipped our goals scored from last year. The record would have been significantly worse, or at least a few games worse.
I think people would have been jumping off the back of TCF.
Yep.
By the end of the season, had we not signed Darwin Quintero.
Fortunately, we never sat in the upper deck. We didn't have to worry about that.
There's only one game that could have happened.
Right.
So.
Yeah. True. Sorry.
And yes, the highlight of his season, I think, David, you brought up, was the hat trick. Against Toronto.
Which I'm going to bring up in a little bit.
Yes. Okay.
That was the first hat trick ever
by a United player. In their short 2-year history
in
now.
MLS.
Okay.
All right.
So that's an easy one.
Those are two easy ones, guys. Let's go to worst roster move.
Okay.
I'm going to say, and Sterling's probably going to agree with me, even though I liked it when it happened, I kind of went back on it after it happened, is the Miller for Nicholson move.
Yeah, that was a shitty move.
Yeah.
However, that's not my choice.
Can I be like can I do the obvious one?
Go ahead.
Like the Christian Ramirez trade. I mean,
No.
whether it was the best or worst, David Sterling, I'll probably leave that for you at the end here, but I think it was clearly the least popular.
Of course it was.
Whether it worked or not, I mean, that's probably still up for debate. I hate to say that here at the end of the season, that we're still saying, well, it might work out. We'll just have to see how Alexi, or not Alexi, I'm sorry, but
It's already shown.
Angelo Rodriguez, we'll wait
Well,
and
not
see.
with him, but we're not going to get all the allocation money
But
because he's playing.
Right, but I mean,
That's why it's not worth it.
right. But I mean, we wouldn't have Angelo Rodriguez without moving Christian Ramirez. I think that's safe
But
to
we're
say.
not going to get much more, I don't think, because he
No.
is not.
But here's my deal. Was Ramirez a move they had to make because he wasn't fitting with what the team wanted to do?
He completely combated Quintero.
Yeah,
They did not play well.
They didn't play well together.
at all.
No.
So if you want Quintero to be your central player,
Yeah.
it wasn't a bad move.
No.
It's
But I think-
it's the only jersey that I own for the United.
And we saw
Ramirez jersey.
flashes, even at the 50K to Midway against the Galaxy. We saw flashes of what they want to do with Quintero and Angelo Rodriguez. We saw it in that game,
Yeah,
and I
exactly
think
right.
that's hopefully. You talk to the ownership, management. They're going to say, "Well, that's exactly why we brought him in," and there's reasons to be very optimistic. So
Yep,
we'll
yep.
leave it at that for now, or at least I don't know if we
Well,
touched on your worst roster move or not. But
So
Well, it
hold
wasn't.
on a second now. So the Miller-Nicholson move wasn't on yours.
No.
The Ramirez move. So
No.
what is it?
So I cheated.
You cheated?
I said the worst roster move was not fixing our fullback depth.
Okay.
I completely agree with you.
Because you don't sign anyone at fullback. Well, okay. You sign people at fullback being a 34-year-old Englishman from Atlanta's, dumpster pile.
Yeah.
Being Tyrone Mears, no offense to Tyrone Mears.
No offense.
That's the only thing they did.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at that and I say, you don't fix the depth there. So you're relying on 97 years combined age between Tyrone Mears, Jerome Tucson, who I love. I think he's an awesome player, awesome individual, great player.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Mark
Birch.
So what happens? Oh, let's see. Mears gets hurt. Birch gets hurt.
Yep.
Jerry gets hurt.
Yep.
That led to Eric Miller
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah.
Eric's fine. I don't think he's a starter, but he's fine. That led to trading our depth away at winger. At the same time, literally at the very same time, we lose Molina, we lose Finley,
Yep.
and all of a sudden we're left with zero depth at either position. It's, we were relying on a 19-year-old rookie to play right back. We were bouncing around between Mears and Jerry at some point, and then forced to go 3-5-2 with Alexi playing defense, or even Eric Miller playing, an attacking position.
Yeah.
And it forced Miguel into playing defensive when he's not meant to be that.
No.
I think if you have to pick the worst roster move ever, it's not signing a fullback. Like decent fullback depth in the offseason.
But here's the deal. If those defenders don't get injured, right? If defenders don't get injured, if defenders don't get injured, then we're okay.
And then,
right?
and can this be... And then also, what you said, so you kind of out of necessity, they had to switch to that 3-5-2 from, the preferred, 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
But, again, we talked about the 3-game winning streak. That 3-game winning streak came when they were playing that 3-5-2 formation. So they did, something worked there.
Calvo not at center back.
Calvo not at center.
Well, Calvo moving over to with left back, right?
Yeah.
That's where he should.
Left center back.
Left center
When
back,
was
where he
that
should be.
3-game winning streak again?
In July.
Yeah.
It was Real Salt Lake, New
right
England,
after the World Cup.
and
Okay, so
LAS.
he was back for those.
Yeah.
So that's my worst. Yeah.
It's an interesting take, Dave. I mean, I'll give it to you. I think not signing a defender was probably one of their biggest mistakes. But then I have to look at it and say, did they realize all these guys are going to get injured? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a risk.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
I mean, you kind of measure the risk and
Well,
figure out where it is. I just think it's obvious. You have the depth you have is over 30.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where
I look at it. I'm going to go to another sport here. I'm going to go to football, American football. I like the Minnesota Vikings, okay? They had how many defensive backs this year? They had a ton of defensive backs this year.
Going into the season.
Going into the
depth,
season.
yeah.
Guys get injured,
Yep, including the rookie.
including the rookie. You go into a season with a lot of guys, and all of a sudden guys get injured. At some point you go, do I need to make a trade or do I not make a trade? And most teams will decide not to make a trade. At
Yeah,
that point.
and you've got
Or
a
pick
defensive-minded head coach in the Vikings,
Yeah.
and so he drafts Mike Hughes, who gets hurt, unfortunately. The old man, help me out, Tony, who's the old man back there that retired. Newman retired just before the beginning of the season. So you had, there's two players that you were relying on or counting on.
Yeah.
And they both are gone now. So
And again, it's one of those things, especially in a game like soccer, where you think you have a glut of guys, and all of a
Right.
sudden guys get injured. And I get your point. I seriously get your point. But who would have known at the beginning of the season they were going to be down that many defenders?
and my argument stays. You shouldn't have signed the people you signed as depth.
Okay, now I'm not saying this is my opinion, but kind of like with the defensive, a defensive midfielder position, can you buy I'm just going to throw an excuse out there. I'm not saying it's right or not, but can you buy it that maybe, a position like a fullback or defensive midfielder for that matter is too hard to find in the middle of a season, and you're not just going to sign anybody off the street.
That's going to come up in our interview with Manny Lagos.
Okay. So
Not our interview, sorry.
So we'll leave it there.
We interview him.
I was just throwing out a possible excuse. We'll leave it there. I think, as far as a worst roster move, sure.
But to
I'll
close
buy
this
that.
out, I think that when they lost all those defenders, they decided to become an offensive team.
Right.
And they said, we're going to sign offensive players. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. So,
The decision requires a punch in the throat, in my opinion.
yeah.
So best
So those are
Best
or
roster.
biggest.
Best roster.
Yeah,
move.
best roster.
best roster. Well, we're going back to what Darwin. I mean, come on. Darwin's the best roster move there is.
Sure.
What are you going to say?
Well,
Dave?
I mean, that's too easy. I think I have to take that one again. I'm the easy answer guy, so.
So we removed best rant. So I
Yeah.
just figured I'd be super controversial. Best roster move is Christian Ramirez.
Is Christian Ramirez.
Letting Chris Ramirez go? Okay. I can see where you're coming from.
Caveat, if we use the money wisely.
No stabbing, Steve.
Okay, so
no
I'm
stabbing.
going to set the pen down. I'm going to set the pen down.
Might not get all the money that we wanted out of it either.
Right.
Well,
And like I said, as of right now, I don't think it's
But
I don't think it will either.
And a lot of that's behind the scenes. Do we even know how much target allocation money they have or general allocation money they have available? Is that just something that's kept a secret? I don't think it is, but they don't make it very public.
Yeah, I don't think it's kept a secret, but in Manny's interview with The Athletic, he stated we're one of the top 3 for allocation.
with allocation, yeah.
So it's a good thing. So the reason I think Christian Ramirez's trade was the best roster move is because, one, it gets the NASL fans to shut up because we're not the NASL anymore.
But the Dark Clouds are big NASL fans.
I get that. But we need to move on from NASL. 2, Christian Ramirez fell down more than any player other than Ibsen. on our team.
Okay.
We lost